theoretically about to be live, so that is helpful. We will find out in a moment here if that worked, because I keep seeing the YouTube cycling. But I'm sure that means we are live on Twitch. We are live on... And now my computer's freezing. So let's have some fun here. All right, let's see where we are. Okay, well, we've got an hour and 11 minutes here before we go into the next game. I'm going to have to go hunt down where our link is. But Eddy, Rinpack, what were your thoughts on the Rising Stars Challenge?
Miles Bridges came out of nowhere and took home the MVP is my take. But shout out to RJ Barrett really taking it home for those 1% captainers during that showdown single game slate. So
yeah, it was vaguely what we expected, and those ended up being the dark horse guys. You had guys who shot 8 for 12 instead of 7 for 11, and they got the extra step. And then you had a few steals, which come somewhat at random. So any one game is going to be a little bit dicey, but nothing too.
Yeah, it was
shocking.
A bit interesting to see. Team World started playing a little tighter defense in the first half, which was I was like, back off a little bit because I wanted to see Zion going. They really didn't want to see Zion dunk at all.
Yeah, I got that right.
The best moment of the
I was pretty low on Zion. I'm giving myself some credit for that. I was pretty low on Zion. Like, you're like, lock him at captain. I'm like, I don't know if I really want that much at all.
Yeah, I did play him at captain.
His game is not suited to this format. So I'll give myself a very nice Barry Horowitz I wasn't a big fan of Zion.
The best moment of the game was definitely when Luka pulled up from half court and told Trae Young, "Watch this," and he banked it in. So
yeah, no, that was cool. The bank was open even Friday night, so that was nice.
All right, we are live out there. I'm going to do the tweet. We're not on our main setup channel. This happened to Jake and I for the NHL show as well. So not sure what's going on. There was
but that's hockey. No one cares about hockey. This is the All-Star game.
But I was on the hockey show.
There could be a million people trying to get in.
You know who is caring about hockey? That's one Adam Ship My Money Sharer, who has made himself a little new home there in hockey. He's been doing quite well for dabbling in it since the scoring change, but we'll have to see if he continues on that. In the meantime, we are brought to you by SuperDraft. They do not have contests for tonight's game, but they do have NHL and PGA coming up, and then of course they will be back in full effect there for NBA on Thursday. In the meantime, single game contests are available on DraftKings and FanDuel, so it is the showdown format. We're going to talk a little bit here. But in the Rising Stars, for the first time in the history of, ever, everybody played 20 minutes for Team USA. Nothing wrong with that. That's just not what was expected. And I had a couple people tell me I was an idiot for talking about starters and bench players in my article. It's like, I'm sorry, for the first time they said, Bernie Bros unite. We're going out with 20 for everybody.
Yeah, no, I am with you. That's a good segue for what I think is the most actionable piece of information I have to change. But I'll let Rinpack take that. So, or Emac, here, you take the lead on this. Describe the new format that is new for this year's All-Star Game starting tonight, just in case someone doesn't know, because it is very relevant.
Absolutely fair. So let's see. So I said, this is from my rules in my article, broke down everything. I said, there's a new format this year, which is intended to spice things up. Each of the first 3 quarters will be scored as individual games. Each team is designated a charity, which will receive $100,000 for each quarter that their team wins. After 3 quarters have been played, the scores will be added together. A target score will be calculated by the highest score, and 24 will be added to that in honor of Kobe Bryant. The first team to reach that target score will win $500,000 for their charity. This other team, I believe, gets $100,000 for their charity. So no matter what, if you were to lose everything, your charity still gets $100,000.
Yeah, and there's Chicago charities, but so again, to translate that into English, so they did a really poor job of explaining it because they want to give the quarterly prizes. They did this whole, we'll reset the score to 0 at the end of every quarter, but then at the end of 3 quarters, cumulatively add up those 3 quarters. So it's really just, they could have just said whoever scores more each quarter as opposed to doing the reset to 0, because they are tracking those points and those points all matter. But at the end of 3 quarters, They will calculate the cumulative score, just like in any basketball game. And then it becomes a first to X game where X is 24 greater than whoever's winning at the end of three quarters. So if Team LeBron is up 100-95, which isn't a bad guess after three quarters, probably be a little higher, it will be first to 124. That's how you figure out who wins. Now, the relevant details as far as DFS strategy goes for me is I would not be surprised to see this limit bench players' minutes a bit. And the reason is if it plays like a normal basketball game or a normal All-Star game, you will get a pretty standard minutes bench distribution in the first half. And we've seen this in most All-Star games. Now, I can't guarantee they don't go with some Karl Marx, Bernie Sanders, you were saying there, version of everyone plays the exact same minutes and really make that a priority. But I have no reason to expect that. One of the two coaches for this evening's contest, Brinpack and I were talking a while ago. Frank Vogel was the head coach of the East All-Stars for the 2014 All-Star Game, and he ran the starters out there just plenty. Four of them played like 33 minutes in what was then a standard 48-minute game. But I would be surprised if this got all communist-y, but I can envision a way in which, so your average NBA team scores 24 points in about 10 minutes and 20 seconds. That's league average. I suspect in the All-Star game, even with them turning on the defense in the fourth quarter, it'll be a little quicker. So let's call it 9 minutes. Totally pulling that number out of my butt, but I feel like it should be a little faster than your average game, that someone will get that. So instead of a 48-minute game, we have a 45-minute game. I don't think it's likely that they come back immediately at the start of the fourth quarter, even though it's not really a quarter anymore. So let's call it the fourth period. I don't think it's necessary that the starters come back right at the beginning there. But I think it's possible that you see something like starters play 8 minutes in the first quarter, bench comes on for 4 minutes, ends the first quarter, plays 4 minutes at the start of the second, or 5 or 6. Starters come back and finish out the second quarter. Starters come out to start the third quarter. Starters go out after 7, 8 minutes. Fourth quarter starts, and 24 is not a giant number when people are jacking threes all over the place, and starters come back, if not immediately, really quickly at the start of the fourth quarter. So I consider it even a bit more of a boon than we normally see in All-Star games for starter to bench minutes distribution.
No, I completely agree with you that on Eddie. We talked about that, how it's definitely a plus for the starters. Yeah, obviously they chose 24 to honor Kobe Bryant. We're doing a little thing for ourselves in honoring Kobe Bryant. We'll be giving away 8 weekly Osmo Plus Platinum passes with some Kobe trivia questions in our chat today. So for those who are who don't currently have a membership to Osmo Plus, give yourself a chance to take one of those Kobe trivia questions down as we talk about this All-Star game.
All right.
So to talk about minutes a little more in general, we saw last year we had obviously the same 2 captains, different coaches, again, obviously by fiat. And we had, there are 12 players out there. And you had, of the starters, you had basically Irving and Durant play 25 minutes each for Team LeBron, and Harden and LeBron played 26 plus a little bit of change each. Off the bench, Lillard got almost 25. Clay got 22. No one else got more than 17. LeBron had the most on his team, albeit only by 19 seconds over James Harden. On team Giannis, we had 29 and a half minutes for Curry was the most. Giannis put himself second at 27, although, again, the team is coached, but I have a feeling he consults. You had Paul George play 26, Embiid play 23, and Kemba get just a few seconds over 20. The only bench player to get over 20 was one of the couple bench players I ranked fairly well, and I did rankings for today, was Chris Middleton, who is picked highly and highly respected by Giannis, and I think this factors in a little bit. He played 21 and a half minutes off the bench. The other 6 guys off the bench did not play 20 minutes, and these were with some significant minutes added because Dwayne Wade played 10 minutes in his ceremonial addition to the team. So there were actually 7 other guys on the bench because they went up to 13 that year. It was the normal 12, and then they added the 2 ceremonial guys. Dirk only played 4 minutes. But each of the times we've seen limited minutes, or many of the times over the last few years since they've gone to the draft format, it's because someone was limited. Joel Embiid played only 20 minutes the year before last. when he caught a start. He wasn't playing much more than that in standard games at that point. And he was a big. Bigs get generally screwed in this format. I'm not saying don't play any Jokic, don't sneak in some Domantas Sabonis, don't do something like that, but bigs get pretty well screwed. They're especially the bigs on Team Giannis, where there are a lot of them, and they collectively shouldn't spend a lot of time on the court, which is understandably the game goes really small. You have the best shooters in the game. That happens quite a bit. But if you look back over, a couple years ago, Kyrie got a start the year before last on Team LeBron. He only played 18 and a half minutes. That's all he was playing in games at that point, or he was at least still fairly limited at that point the year before last. I think he actually sat the game immediately before that All-Star break. So it was kind of expected he would see very little time. Anthony Davis was on LeBron's team that year. He played 5 minutes. He was also very injured at the time. He had just missed a broad swath of games. But the centers on that team, none of them started, which is fine. They did front and back court at that point. But anyone on that team who could have been considered a center, Towns played 11 minutes. Aldridge played 11 minutes. Anthony Davis played 5. So they played a combined 26 minutes of center. And then especially if you have a guy like Embiid starting in that game on Team Giannis, Embiid played 23 minutes. The bench centers played, 11 minutes, 12 minutes. Jokic was on that team. He played 13 minutes. So I'm disinclined towards bigs, and I'm disinclined towards bench players, as previously explained. So I'm really disinclined towards bench bigs, where I was going.
Yeah, and that's actually a good one to hit on here. So for those that are kind of new, let's hit on Team LeBron just for a moment. So LeBron, obviously, going to be one of your core guys, as is Giannis, as the captains. Anthony Davis gets the hometown nod here. By the way, born, raised in Chicago, also dinged up. I don't know how much, let me say this. Dinged up throughout the season, a little bit delicate, a little bit of bubble wrap here, but he is in the hometown. So I'm curious.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I do want to say, like, most of this year, even though he's dinged up, he's playing 33 minutes in offensive smack your ass around games. This is after 4 days
Yes.
around after 4 days off, with 4 days off coming, playing 24 and a half minutes, I think is something like I have expected for him in a scrimmage where they're only going to play defense for the final 7 minutes. I would be surprised if Anthony Davis's condition limited him 1 second.
Do you think LeBron will make him an MVP in this game?
I think LeBron will make LeBron an MVP in this game, but if it's not him, I think LeBron will make Anthony Davis an MVP in this game. And Anthony Davis has been in 6 or 7 All-Star games. I'm not quite sure on the count there. Again,
7.
Is it 7? And he's been amazing in 1 where he had a really nice narrative. That was the second one in New Orleans. He's played in 2 All-Star games in New Orleans. And the first one, he played 9 minutes, give or take a minute or 2 off the bench. The second one in 2017, he went the hell off. I like Anthony Davis. I like Anthony Davis as a starter who is a very good point per minute guy anyway. But yes, I think both LeBron, here for your hometown. It is the first, Kobe Bryant All-Star MVP award. There are a number of guys who want to win that. I certainly think the 2 Lakers are first and center. So sorry, continue with your narratives. Sorry to interrupt, but I really wanted to say I can't imagine that they're like, we want you to play 26 minutes in this scrimmage, but we're worried it'll hurt you. You only played 21 in your hometown, Anthony Davis. I can't think of that.
Yeah, thoughts on that one, Rinpack?
Yeah, if any reason for Anthony Davis, if that's going to bring down Anthony Davis's ownership because they're going to think he's dinged up or limited, I'm just going to kind of reiterate what Eddy said. I think if he's going to play 26 minutes, Anthony Davis at 26 minutes, I still like that a lot. I think he'll do really well in that matchup. And I kind of find it hard to imagine if he's not going to come out in that final first to 24 part of the game. They're going to need him to win that part of the contest. So I really like Anthony Davis. He's if I were to project my top 3 highest scoring players, he's going to fall in there more times than not. So
okay, that's a good calibration. Now, so we've kind of hit on the 3 guys that I really think have the best chance at being the captain: LeBron, Giannis, and Anthony Davis. If you were picking one there, and this is on DK for the 1.5 multiplier with the 1.5 salary, Eddy, if you were choosing amongst those 3 for the most safe option for those playing 3-mans, triple ups, etc., would you go Giannis? Would you go LeBron? Would you go Davis?
I would go LeBron for the safest option. I don't think that's very close. Davis, the minutes could be suspect, less for the health, but just because he's a big guy and it could go small. LeBron has played the most minutes on his team each of the last 2 years as the captain, one time extremely significantly so. So I feel a little more invested in that. And I like LeBron's team to be more efficient. I generally like getting a couple more guys from teams LeBron because during whatever period of time Team Giannis is out there with their starters, which you have to so Team Giannis is coached by Nick Nurse. And Team LeBron is coached by his coach, Frank Vogel. And they each have two of their own players, albeit in Nurse's case, one is off the bench. He has Pascal starting and Kyle Lowry off the bench. Frank Vogel has, obviously, LeBron and Anthony Davis. How do I explain this? If I'm Nick Nurse, I don't have Kemba Walker or Trae Young on the floor in the fourth quarter. I just don't if I'm trying to win this game. That being said, I think he does. I don't think he takes it on himself to overrule the voters and bench two starters for the fourth quarter. Maybe he does, and it's the correct thing to do, but this is long and short of saying that team is significantly worse defensively. Like, I don't have a problem putting James Harden as your captain or your MVP because he can get his own shot, and for a very significant portion of the game that he's out there, the two opposing guards are going to be Kemba Walker and Trae Young, and he can cook those two guys. I don't know if he will, but that's a really bad defensive backcourt. I mean, really bad. Like, Harden can get absolutely whatever he wants. If he decides he's going to go out and take 17 threes and make 12 of them, he's going to do that. I don't know who's going to stop him. I don't know if he gets pulled. I don't know. But there is a really significantly crappy defensive backcourt for Team Giannis. Kemba and Trae are some really, really little dudes, and they can get bodied around by Harden, Luka. Chris Paul can get what he wants against those two players. Russell Westbrook can get what he wants against those two players. So when in doubt, I'm kind of a fan of taking guards here because I assume those guys are on the court for some significant portion in this game, and they are defensively really bad. It's one of the reasons I would bet on Team LeBron to cover if I was going to bet on one of these teams, because at the end of the game, Team LeBron is pretty solid defensively. Like, I'm not a huge fan of James Harden defense, nor Luka. Luka still got some work to do there, but yeah. So I'm a fan of Team LeBron guards just based on that designation. Chris Paul on DraftKings I like quite a bit. And Chris Middleton on DraftKings I like quite a bit. They seem like bargains that are worth it, and they're a couple of the only bench players I'm very interested in. They're the only bench players I ranked fairly high in rankings.
Yeah, speaking of bench players, I'll just say, out of the bench players who I don't like, I've completely removed Brandon Ingram from my player pool.
Yep. This is a good one because I've removed a few as well. So let's see if Eddy agrees with us here.
I agree with removing Brandon Ingram. He's not super cheap, and I doubt he plays like 15. I would project him for like 12 minutes with some possibility of less, and I'd be surprised if he saw 15, 16. So I'm fine getting Brandon Ingram the hell out and living with the 0.1% chance he just goes nuts in his 15 minutes.
Yeah, and he's 6,200. I mean, Jimmy Butler's 6,400. That's like I prefer Jimmy Butler's playing in Chicago. He played there. And there's other players who are like cheaper than him. I mean, Chris Middleton's 3,200 on DraftKings. Chris Middleton's $6K on FanDuel. Yeah. And he opens things up. Chris Paul, who has played very well in All-Star games in the past, is $3K. These are bench players who I like.
Yeah, Chris Paul is an All-Star monster, by the way. And All-Star, now, he has not played in 4 years. That is a long time, and it is worth pointing out that the Chris Paul of 2020 is not the Chris Paul of 2012 through 16. But if you look at those All-Star games,
so here it is, Eddy. I said Chris Paul will be making his 10th showing and first since 2016. That year, he had 16 assists off the bench. Yeah. Building on his 15 that he had in 2015.
Go back 3 more years. He was double-digit. Each of the 3 years, he had double-digit assists in the All-Star game 5 consecutive years, 12 through 16. And in years 12 through 16, had almost exactly 12 through 16 assists. Actually, he had, I looked at it earlier today. I will find his All-Star game production over those 5 years was incredibly sexy. And while I look this up, I will comment again that for some portion of the time he's out there, the guards on the other team are going to be Kemba Walker and Trae Young. So at the absolute floor minimum price, his last 4 All-Star games, 2013, he played 27 minutes and had 53 DraftKings points. 2014, he played 24 minutes and had 42 DraftKings points. 2015, he played 27 minutes and had 47 DraftKings points. 2016, he played 19 minutes and had 47 DraftKings points. The boy did not mess around in All-Star games. I have no idea how much that translates, and if he cost 6,000, well, this would be a whole different conversation. But at 3,000, I legitimately like Chris Paul, as he doesn't need to do half of that to be pretty exciting. And he's on Team LeBron, banana boat. And if I haven't mentioned, for some portion of the game, the opposing guards will be Trae Young and Kemba Walker, which are guys he can body and get in there with his thickness.
All right, so as we look to pivot and change things, I want to hear this from both you guys. We'll start off with Rinpack. Which would you go with? Would you go with Kemba Walker starting, or would you go with Chris Paul off the bench for that discount, then generally get whatever you want for your other roster slot?
That becomes tough. It goes back to the situation we have in that fourth quarter where we expect the starters to come back, and Kemba Walker is $6,600. You can do a lot with $3,600 in this format. I'm more willing to go down to Chris Paul and like bite that, and hopefully Kemba Walker takes the back seat to Giannis, and it really defers to him quite a bit more. So I do prefer saving those $3,600. I mean, Kemba Walker, he started last year at the game in Charlotte. He was okay. He doesn't seem like one of those guys who wants to go out.
The most important part was 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes. He was the only starter who was out-minuted by a bench player. The top 5 players with minutes on that team were the other 4 starters and Chris Middleton, who played 22 off the bench. So we have seen this guy on this team, on a team Giannis, play the fewest minutes of the starters. So I have no issue with Kemba Walker at his price on either side. I still think he's an excellent play. And I imagine he will be fairly popular because he's a starter who does not cost a lot. And I think most people will get the sense, even if they don't figure the whole 45-minute game part of it. But he played the fewest minutes of the starters in that game. He played a few seconds more than 20 minutes. He only took 8 shots. I think it was 3 of 8 in that game, or 2 of 8 or something. So I'm fine with getting away from it. I like Kemba Walker. I think I would try to be average exposed to it. I expect him to be fairly popular. I don't dislike him as still probably playing top 5, top 6 minutes in the game on his team. Okay. And he's pretty cheap. But you can certainly get away. And I suspect he's still more owned than Chris Paul. And I will save $3,600 and play Chris Paul. So if I only get one, it's Chris Paul. But I have no issue with both.
Yeah, that price point, yeah. Is he the cheapest starter in terms of price point? I want to make sure.
Yes, both sides.
Yeah, both sides. Yeah, he's
Kemba Walker's. Yeah,
Kemba Walker's, and yeah, if you're looking to just build a lineup with just starters, if he's the cheapest starter, there is merit to playing him there. Okay, he's getting quote unquote starter minutes in an All-Star game, and you can go from there. But the savings do help. That's definitely one thing that I noticed, and when I was building around lineups, savings definitely do help. My least favorite starter on the Team LeBron side of things is probably Kawhi Leonard. And,
all right, good. That's coming up in chat.
I agree.
So,
yeah. So Kawhi Leonard is probably my least.
Have you zeroed him out? I've got him as a 10%er.
I have not zeroed him out, but I have removed him from my MVP player pool on FanDuel. I believe so. I'm not considering him currently at the MVP spot on FanDuel. I just he has taken a backseat in previous All-Star games, and obviously he
hasn't played a back-to-back in 3 years. Come on, like he's playing in this one.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid point, and I don't see him being like, okay, I'm Kawhi Leonard, I want to go win this MVP tonight.
Right, and also he's just not cheap enough. Like it just comes down to he's $8,000 if you utility him on DK, whereas other guys are like the studs are 9.2. That isn't gonna math out right for what have you. And on FanDuel he's 14 when like LeBron and James are 15. I think Giannis is tops at 15.5. So zero out. No, that seems like a bit much to me. Like that totally depends on your personal preference. If I was playing tonight, yes, I would probably zero him out because
I'm looking at 20 max kind of as our framework tonight. MME, yeah, whatever. Do whatever you want. We could get the exact sharing of minutes that we had last
like
night.
I would, and it's a risky strategy. I might have, if I was playing Rising Stars, I would not have zeroed out Miles Bridges. I actually liked him a fair bit. I thought he was going to start. It was his second year. Lots of stuff worked there. But I might have zeroed out Eric Pascal, who I imagine was an important part of the winning lineup. I might have gone with, you know what, I will just accept to hone my player pool a little bit. I'll go there. So it's a choice you have to make with Kawhi. Kawhi is a pretty good basketball player. If you want to hone narratives, I can certainly think that there's a LeBron's been ducking me type things. So they're on the same team, and somehow I don't know. But I'm saying, like, he has never previously in an All-Star game seemed super interested at all in doing that. Even in regular games, he generally needs to get later in the game into the fourth quarter before he goes into that mode, and he just doesn't have to do it here. So whether he's making it rain and smacking fat asses in the club, or sorry, just for some reason that video got stuck in my head and I wanted to go there. But yeah, like Kawhi doesn't seem like the best point per dollar play for me, and at his prices, I don't know if we have ownership pending, but if he's at all significantly owned, yeah, I would probably just let it go, because you are spending as much for him as Westbrook, who's been to, I guess, 7 All-Star games again and was absolute beat stick in 3 consecutively. But again, not getting the start and priced more than a whole hell of a lot of starters. But so it's also going to come down to ownership. But we have not seen that All-Star game out of Kawhi yet, and he would have to be on either site, top 3 scorers to really make a lot of sense. To work him in on FanDuel, you're either picking him as a top 3 scorer or going with a really odd lineup where you put him in that utility spot, which you can do. Like, you want a really unique lineup, you pick one of the guys who costs 14 grand or more and put him in a utility spot. If you want to win it all, that's how you do it. It's not, I'm going to play this really weird guy. It's, I'm going to put my cheaper guys above my more expensive guys. So you have Pascal Siakam at star or something like that with James Harden under him, and that can be the best possible lineup. You just need Harden to be the 4th overall scorer and Pascal to be the 3rd, and then to somehow at the top 2. So a little FanDuel advice. I think that's the way you do that. Is you do not list your guys in order of most salary to least. No, because I think that's everyone's default, and you'll just get a much more unique lineup. That and leaving money on the table, I think, are your 2 secrets to success.
Yeah, and Kawhi Leonard's 14,000 on FanDuel. It's like he's only $500 less than Anthony Davis, and I'm gonna find a lot of my times trying to make sure I get Anthony Davis in over Kawhi. So we'll see how that decision ends up coming out. Hopefully, Anthony Davis outscores him by quite a bit, but we'll see.
All right, so a couple things.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Emac, who are your favorite bench players on both sides? We covered Chris Paul and whatnot. I like Jimmy Butler's price on FanDuel a little bit. He's $9K. But let's talk about some of the bench players.
All right, so this is perfect. So this is written before yesterday's events last night. I said, Bam Adebayo joining in on the fun for the first time in his career. This 3rd-year big is posting career highs across the board and is 10th in the league with 10.4 rebounds per game. Playing time could be an issue when this game draws close, as he lacks outside shooting touch. He won the skills competition last night. Does that count for anything? Recency bias? I'm still voting no, but damn, he looked good in that one. Most of the bigs actually did.
Yeah. Shout out to the entire internet community who spent the most of the summer filleting Bam Adebayo. We're like, this is going to go. It's going to be great. So yeah, he was drafted many a time. My issue is this. You may have heard me talk about centers. I think we can agree they're not going to play more than one center.
Yep. You
have Embiid who is going to start. How many minutes does Embiid play? I'll go light and say 21, which is 3 less than he played last year, I think. Okay, now I got 24 minutes of center, and they go to Bam Adebayo and Rudy Gobert. I have trouble playing Bam Adebayo or Rudy Gobert for that reason. I think they collectively play 24 minutes. Maybe less. If Embiid plays 25, they might collectively play 19 minutes and some change. And anyone? Really
yeah, the only thing that on Adebayo, I don't like him at that 11K price tag on FanDuel at all. He is 4,800 on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's a conversation.
Yeah,
but so I just realized I think there's a real like he comes in behind. there's some hierarchy in these things. He's also
Yeah.
cross-conference from. I don't know. It's just for me that like I think they give time to Embiid. He got voted the starter. Then they give time to Gobert first. It's just a seniority thing. So
For sure.
like I think honestly, if you put a gun to my head right now and say minutes on Bam Adebayo, I'll say 11.
The only thing why I might bump up Adebayo a little bit more is maybe, let's say Ingram doesn't play more than 10 minutes. Maybe he gets some of those Ingram minutes.
That's something worth pointing out, that they are running an 11 and a half man team instead of a 12-man team, that we really think Brandon Ingram does not play 20 minutes. So maybe that distributes 45 seconds to everyone else on the team. That's not irrelevant. It's also worth looking at the structure of the teams. Giannis's team is much bigger. So as far as, ball handlers go, they're starting Trey and Kemba, but off the bench, they have really Kyle Lowry. There are guys who can bring the ball up. Donovan Mitchell can play point guard. Jimmy Butler is pretty good, honestly. He can be a full service point guard, but there's less in that than Team LeBron, which has LeBron, who's a very functional point guard, Harden, who's a very functional point guard, Luka is a very functional point guard, Chris Paul is a very functional point guard, Westbrook, Ben Simmons, that's 6. I'm not counting Devin Booker and a couple other guys where it's not really their thing. So Giannis's team is well bigger, which makes me like the bigs less and the little guys more, and swap it around. So another reason to like Anthony Davis is in theory. Although again, that's still, I don't think they have more than one of Davis, Jokic, or Sabonis on the court at any one time. So now
I
we
think
have those
Sabonis and Jokic are going to be short stick guys. Rimpack, here's a guy for you, Jimmy Butler. So long history in Chicago as a player there. They drafted him 2 years ago. Decided, you know what, I'm good. Not going to get off the bench here. What do you want to do with him? The bench guys I do like, to answer your question from about 15 minutes ago. Kyle Lowry, veteran of these games. Here's my notes. He's making his 6th appearance in 14 seasons. Team Giannis needs distributors. Lowry's content to fill that role. In 4 of his last 5 All-Star games, he has taken double-digit shot attempts. His assist totals, however, if we're going to bank on those, have been 3, 11, 0, 10, and 8, which are not consistent. And then Chris Middleton got a little extra love last year, came in hot, firing from 3, ended up going 6 from 10 from beyond the arc, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, should see 20 to 22 minutes. Giannis tabbed him in the first pick of the reserves. He's his teammate, obviously.
2 years in a row.
Yeah. What do we do with Butler, Lowry, and Middleton?
Out of all of those guys for price, I prefer Chris Middleton, and I don't think it's pretty close. Butler's at a weird price point on DraftKings. I like him better on FanDuel at $9K compared to the $6,400 on DraftKings. It's just the way the roster construction works out. If for some reason they decide not to bring out Kemba and Trae Young for that final 8 minutes, I can easily see it being Lowry and Butler closing that out for defensive purposes. And
I want to comment on this because it's really important. Again, I think if Nick Nurse gets to coach the game he wants to, he leaves those guys on the bench, and I just don't think he does it. Maybe they get an extra minute, but I cannot see Nick Nurse, who himself is not an experienced hand in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is Greg Popovich, maybe Greg Popovich says, I don't care who the fans voted for. I'm 180 years old. I'm curmudgeonly. I'm going to play who gives us the best team to win. I just can't see Nick Nurse overthrowing the popular vote like that and just being like, screw it, I am start. Like, he should start some combination of, Butler, Middleton in theory would still be a significant upgrade, or Lowry over Walker and Trae Young in that final 5 minutes. And it would be a fearsome defensive team. If you put Butler and Lowry, their closing 5 would be Butler, Lowry, and Antetokounmpo, Siakam, Embiid. Yeah. It's a pretty good defensive squad. I'd like to see that. I hope he does it, and I will admit it's possible. But I can't think he's comfortable throwing over the vote like that. I don't. Yeah, that's just my take. I'm curious if you guys have it like.
No, that's a very good take. I mean, it's going to be interesting because we've never seen this format ever before, so it's going to be a decision that they end up playing it. Now it's going to be interesting to see. In the games where they've done it for charity, have the starters been closing it for both sides? I didn't have time to look into, but
the games where they've done it for charity.
Yeah.
I don't
Or
know what
like
you mean by that description.
As in, like, the winning team gets more money. They get to choose. Like last year, I think whoever got the winning team, they got 300,000, and the losing team got.
Well, last
150,000.
year was charity and cash for players. Like it's moved around a lot
Okay.
year to year the way they compensate the All-Star game. But there is like some incentive to win, but it's always been more of a popularity contest to answer your question. It's always been, and that's fine. I don't have an issue with that, but it's frustrating as someone who likes defensive basketball. And but yeah, I think, again, it's worth pointing out that Team Giannis has a lot of bigs and relatively less guard depth on the bench, and also is distributing some extra Ingram minutes.
Yeah, in terms of like back to circling the question Emax said, yeah, my preference in order would probably be Middleton, Butler, then Lowry in terms of finding ways to get those guys into lineups in terms of the bench guys on Giannis's team.
All right. Let's see. Let's hit some other notes here. We've got 36 minutes to go. So we're all set. Reminder, if you guys have not yet signed up for Super Draft, they're coming in with full force on hockey tomorrow. They've got PGA, and then, of course, coming up Thursday, they're going to have some heavy NBA contests. What's different about them? Well, they use the multiplier, not salary caps. They they had single game contests for NFL. I need to double check and make sure they don't have any up there for NBA, but they are been dabbling in a few different things here. Let's just see. Yes, their contests are for Thursday, but they're running a $45,000 jump shot, $10,000 to first. It's a $12 entry. So what they do there is they do multipliers on their scoring system. They take the best of all the different scoring systems. You get +3 for turnovers and blocks. You get -1 for a negative turnover, so steals and blocks are +3. A turnover is -1. You get half-point bonus there for 3-point makes, and then you get the double-double and triple-double bonus. So it's a lot of fun. Check it out and enjoy superdraft.io. If you put in $100 with your first deposit using the promo code AWESEMO, they will immediately give you $20 in super cash, which is available to be used into any contest. It will come out of your account first. Donovan Mitchell, Eddy, are we writing him off? Is he a 0-out guy? First time in the game. We know he can handle the ball. We know he's a good inside-outside guy. 14th in the league with 24 points per game. His three-point shot is excellent, averaging 36% on 3.7 attempts per game. I don't have him in my player pool right now.
I need to check the pricing to get it exact.
Mitchell is 3,400 on DraftKings, and
that's what I thought. He was
I'm going with Chris Paul, baby.
Yeah,
Banana boat.
I definitely have him behind Middleton and Paul at those prices on DraftKings. I don't think I would actually X out.
Okay.
I like guys like him and Devin Booker and just anyone who in theory can take a lot of shots and make a lot of threes has the potential.
Yeah, Booker's another one. Go ahead and dovetail into that, and then Rinpack you can rebut.
Yeah, I just obviously filling in as an injury replacement for Damian Lillard. He's on Team LeBron, which necessitates my 11th mention of he'll see some amount of Kemba Walker and Trae Young playing defense on the other team. I like that a little bit, but he's just, could take 13 shots, 12 of which are 3-pointers, 8 of which go in, and just be like, so I would have non-zero amounts of most of those guys. The guys I would be here, let's have a conversation on like who to zero out. And we'll talk DraftKings for a minute because FanDuel, Rimpak and I had a conversation earlier. It's a little more interesting because you really need to build a player pool for MVP, a player pool for pro or whatever the 1.5 is, a player pool for star, and then a player pool for utility. So you sort of X out by tier. So like your player pool for MVP is who do I think can realistically be the top scoring player? And obviously there's a non-zero chance of, 24 guys getting there, but it seems right to, not play Domantas Sabonis in the MVP spot ever, because literally on FanDuel he needs to be the highest scoring player in the game. So the guys on DraftKings I would play none of is probably at their prices Jokic, Sabonis, Gobert, Adebayo. I just don't think I'm playing the bench bigs. I honestly, maybe it's extreme.
For me, it's Ingram.
Adebayo's 46, right?
Adebayo's 48. I think Adebayo's the big that I would have the most interest in off the bench.
I could see doing, and I would cut out Ingram too. So I would do many, if not all, of the 4 bench centers.
Yeah.
And Brandon Ingram. Other than that, I would have some presence of everyone else in a player pool. Anyone have a strongly different take there?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be, if people who are building more than one line, very limited exposure to Jokic, Gobert, and
like I would kind of rather play Tatum than Bam anyway, and he's 4,400, and I would, I don't know. The centers just are tough for me. It's hard to play any of those bench centers, even on DraftKings, because they're all more than Paul, Mitchell, Lowry, Tatum, and I just see ways they get there easier. I don't think they play 2 centers at any time on either team. I could be wrong, but they haven't done it in years if they're going to. And frequently when we look at, I'll go back over the last X years and look at the minutes played by centers in these games and non-starting centers in these games. We'll just go with that. Last year, Karl Anthony Towns, 11 minutes. LaMarcus Aldridge, 11 minutes. Anthony Davis, 5. That was an injury concern. We can ignore that. Nikola Vucevic, 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Nikola Jokic, 13 minutes. Okay, so through 2 years, the most minutes a bench center has played is 13 minutes. Year before that, Andre Drummond, 17 minutes and 36 seconds. That was a game Anthony Davis started and played only 16 minutes. So that's an injury concern. But we got 17 out of one guy once. LaMarcus Aldridge, who wasn't injured, I remember this game, 4 minutes as the third center on that team. I remember that happening. Bench centers on the other team, Towns, 18 minutes. That was injury-based. That was when Embiid started. It's the only reason that happened. Otherwise, Embiid plays 25 and he gets less. Al Horford, 12. And, so I can go back a couple more years. But the point being, I would project them for something like Gobert, 13 minutes, Bam, 11 minutes. Like, it's just, they don't math out well next to the guy.
Would you project Bam more than Gobert straight up? That's what I have currently right now.
As far as production?
Yeah.
No. I'd have it close, but I have Gobert for probably 2.5 extra minutes if I actually run out this rotation, and I think that would still land him on top. Now, Bam can play in more lineups than Rudy can.
Yeah.
So here's, while you're looking that up, in 2019, these are game totals. 7 blocks, 17 steals. 8 blocks, 20 steals.
Yeah.
17 2 blocks, 32 steals. 16 2 blocks, 32 steals. Yeah. Or 31 steals.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't do the spiel I did at the beginning of Friday's show, which I will not do the whole 10-minute spiel again. But long story short, there are less rebounds and less blocks. There are more three-pointers and more steals. Players who generate more fantasy points based on steals and three-pointers are better than players who generate, which is why I didn't really like Zion. Like, he's not a really good three-point shooter. He doesn't get a metric ton of steals. He's fine. But the other thing is the steals are also a little bit less trackable. Your average NBA game has, I think we worked this out, something like 7.5 steals aside. 6 of those are due to good defensive efficiency and someone being good with their hands, being in the passing lane. 1.5 are just random, where a guy loses the ball and the guy's like, oh, a ball, and picks it up. In an all-star game, that number is almost double. It's like 12 per team on average. And it's still 6 of them are based on good defense and being in a passing lane. And the other ones are, I tried to pull the ball out of my butt and do an alley-oop and it slipped out of my hands and that guy caught it. So there's like a full half of them are just more random. So there's more variance in that side as opposed to guys who will take and make three-pointers are very nice.
All right. For a chat who's now not happy with Eddy, Jojo Mojo, I was not on RJ Barrett. Eddy was all over RJ Barrett.
I won't go that far, but I specifically, like literally, we had a colloquy between you and I where you went, I'm not playing RJ Barrett. And I stopped you and went, I don't know.
And
if
I
that's a good
didn't,
idea.
and it cost me.
Yeah, it's so, yeah, I had 2 people say that to me. Apparently, I gave that impression because I had 2 people say, oh, why weren't you on RJ Barrett? And I'm like, I really felt I was. I really felt I said, he's starting, so the minute should be there. He's cheap. He's got something to prove, so I think the motivation is there. And there's no defense. That's his kind of game. So I felt like I was cautiously optimistic. I would have thought I was a bigger fan of RJ Barrett, and I think there were 2 times one of you said something negative about him. When I really don't know. I kind of like I should go back and rewatch it. But for reference, I really felt like I was more positive than the average person on RJ Barrett in that game. But if I gave that, it's whatever I mean to say. It's more important what comes through. So if somehow I gave the opinion that you shouldn't play him, that was not what I was trying to do at the time.
So
not to say that there's plenty of times I'm just outright wrong where I did mean that and I was just wrong. I don't think that's one of them, but who cares?
Pack, let's talk Jason Tatum here for a second. So super cheap on DK, 44. So my notes are his newbie status and redundancy with LeBron, Davis, and Leonard, to a lesser extent Simmons and Doncic, could keep his minutes in the upper teens. He does have a nice skill set for this game and is averaging 38.2% on 6.9 nice 3-point attempts per game. I kind of like him. He's sort of one of the guys I'm bouncing around. I've got 4 locked in for my core DK 3-man lineup here, the 3-mans and triple ups. He's on the fringe. What do you want to do with Tatum?
Jason Tatum. So on FanDuel, I find it really hard to pay up for him at 11.5. I think if you're taking multiple lineup darts, you can maybe find yourself in maybe a 1 out of 20. I don't like him at all that much on FanDuel, where he's priced at 11.5. That's a very, very steep price tag for what I expect his minutes and role to be, where you can be paying down for 6K for Middleton like that on FanDuel. Tatum on 4.4 is a whole nother conversation. I like that price tag at 4.4. He's in like an island type of price tag. He's not extremely cheap, but he's in that. There's only one other person priced in the 4K range, which is Adebayo, and I prefer Tatum to Adebayo in this setting.
Donovan Mitchell isn't in the 4s on DK.
No, he's 3.4. I like that price tag.
He's 3.4. That's right.
Yeah.
I knew it was towards the bottom. He's a little bit more than Paul and Middleton. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so I don't mind Tatum. He's on LeBron's team. I'm having a little trouble in projecting him and how he'll do in this game.
There's so many duplicative players for it.
Yeah. There's 10 first-time players also. So there's gonna be a lot of, I feel like, jitters. I mean, like general.
I feel like it's 9 first-time players.
I thought it was 8.
You said 10 to me twice. All right, I'm staking out 9. Then I want to count. I'm taking out 9 because he said 10 twice to me today. And both times I did it in my head and came up with 9. And I'll list them, but I got 9. So either I'm skipping 1 and you have 8. So I'm taking 9. I want a definitive count right now. We got 24 minutes. I'm putting my flag in 9.
I'm saying 10. I hope my eyes.
All right. So LeBron, no. Davis, no. Luka, yes. Harden and Leonard, no. Booker, yes. Jokic. Is Jokic first time? No, he played last year.
He played last year.
Chris Paul played last year. Sabonis is a
Chris
yes.
Paul did not play last year, but it's not his first time.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he played in 2016.
Sabonis first time. That's 3.
Simmons, no. Tatum, yes. Westbrook, no.
Correct.
Giannis, no. Embiid, no. Pascal Siakam, yes.
Yes, that's 5.
Kemba, no. Trae Young, yes.
6.
Adebayo, yes.
7.
Gobert, yes.
No. Is it?
Yes, it is Gobert's first time. Remember he cried last year?
I screwed up. Okay, that's 8. If it's Gobert's first time, I really thought he was in that bench.
Brandon Ingram.
Yes.
So
that's 9.
That's
9.
Devin Booker.
Didn't we say him?
We did say Booker already.
We said Booker already. We went through the other team first. That's 9.
I'm scrolling through my article, Rimpack, so that's how the only reason I know. I could be wrong though. Shoot! I said 8. It's really 9. Damn it.
All right. I somehow screwed up on Gobert, but it was still right. I don't know how that happened, but I really thought Gobert played once. He should have. He's arguably the best defensive player in the year. But anyway.
Yeah, my notes say this is the first time he's been in this game.
Did you guys say Sabonis?
Yeah, we said
Sabonis. Take a piece of paper, write down 10 names, and get back to it. If you're going to write down 10 names of people who haven't played before, I'll happily concede the point. Anyhow, let's see. Other things. Other things worth talking about. Let's see. We did that. We did the bench starters. Vogel's a very defensive coach. So I think someone's more likely to throw. I mean, so is Nurse, really. But
Crap, it might be 10.
What'd you say?
Yeah. It is 10.
Crap, it might be 10.
Bam, Mitchell, Booker, Sabonis, Luka, Pascal, Rudy Gobert, Tatum, Trae Young, Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, I don't think I was counting Ingram in mine because he was hurt. I thought he was hurt. I defer to...
I stand corrected. Well, the 8 was right the hell out, by the way. You go to your room. But no, and I was wrong on Gobert. That's what I was doing it in my head, and I really thought Gobert had played last year for 8 minutes. Again, the bench guys play 8 minutes, so I got him lumped in with one of Aldridge's things. But well done, Renpack. You win ice cream. I owe you ice cream. Well done. I'm looking. He's not here. I'm like, for some reason, I don't believe you. I'm like, who was it? Was it? I think it was Vooch I did in my memory. All right. Well, that's 3 minutes of our lives we can never get back, but at least
well, let's use this
We're
moment.
about 20 minutes from lock, so
Let's use this moment for a recap. So Fast Eddie Fair has put his rankings up. If you're a premium member, you can get those. For those of you in chat worried that I'm not talking, you guys want to hear what these guys have to say. If you want to know what I have to say, I'm dropping the article in the chat. So there's 2,000 words on my thoughts for the players on this game. I think we can agree that Giannis and LeBron are the top 2 plays. Your next best 3 plays, Eddie, are going to be, and then Rinpack, we're coming to you.
Gross scoring?
Yep. Fantasy point scoring.
James Harden, Anthony Davis, and...
It's a little tough. Chris Paul, perhaps, for the value.
Luka Doncic. You said gross scoring.
Well,
no,
I know, but now I realize that's
scoring.
where the shelf is.
But I really like Chris Paul and Chris Middleton at their prices on DraftKings. And I really don't mind Chris Middleton at the even more floory price on FanDuel. Like, if we think the dude's going to play 20 minutes at that price, he should get the hell in there. He makes a lot of 3-pointers. He can pick up some defensive stats. Like, I like Chris Middleton quite a bit. Literally, my GPP rankings on players went by salary went A B B B B B B B B B B B B C C B B B AA for Middleton and Paul sitting at the bottom. Like, literally, I like the top guys. I think they have a chance of being super high scoring guys. And then my favorite 2 value guys are the bottom 2 dudes because Chris Paul has the matchup. I may have mentioned something once or twice about Trae Young and Kemba Walker. And then Chris Middleton, we can expect to play comfortably the most bench minutes. It's a format that works well for him. Looked perfectly good last year, and he costs absolute balls. So those are my favorite 2 bench players. And then I want starters because, to recap, as you asked from the beginning of the show, I think the plus 24 format may create even a slightly higher starter to bench minutes disparity. So yeah, that's where I come down. I'm putting in new rankings because I felt bad like crapping on All-Stars and not ranking them pretty well, but I got to reduce like Jokic and people to like DCs instead of CBs. Like I dislike them that much. The non-starting starters, I'm going to keep them ranked, but I dropped them all down to season D. So
all
I'm
right,
re-uploading
Rinpack, we're coming for you. For those that don't, I'm now putting in 5 $1 DK head-to-heads in the lobby. Jump in and get them. Rinpack, what do you got here?
So, something about my top plays. Let's talk about my DraftKings. In terms of my favorite captain options on DraftKings right now, I'm finding a way to get like my stud captains in. Right now, in the top 3 captains I owned, it goes LeBron, Giannis, Anthony Davis, and then I'm sprinkling in some Chris Paul at captain, some for very unique builds. Luka,
Okay.
James Harden, Middleton, and some Butler. I'm just sprinkling those guys in, just a couple lineups of them.
What is your playing format? So I'm kind of going 20 max tonight. I did 50 on the Rising Stars, and that went all to shit.
I'm ripping a 150 max on.
Okay, Mr. I'm doing one lineup on Rising Stars is flexing now.
So yeah, I just feel like I'm gonna have fun watching these games. Hopefully one of them find a way to get there, but we'll see.
I missed that so much. We're waiting on the ruling from FanDuel as to whether or not I get to play my first DFS contest in 5 years when I'm in LA with Renpack. Because Renpack's going to the World Championships of Fantasy NBA, and I'm going as his +1. And there's a special sort of invitee thing for competitors and their +1s. So in theory, maybe I can get a waiver and get my 1 contest in. I'm going to take
that
the whole
actually
thing
might
down.
work because it's a select isolated contest. So
right, exactly. It's no. So in theory, I might get my 1 shot at glory, and I'm going to study that fucker up. Pardon my language, but I'm going to spend
which works for you, Renpack, buddy.
I won't sleep. Yeah, in theory, I might help him a little, but screw him. I'm going to win whatever that prize is. I don't care about the million he's got coming. He's got plenty. You got plenty, Rim Pack. Move those piles of money out of the way. We can't see you behind them.
Okay. And then onto FanDuel side of things. For me, my preferred MVP options go Giannis, LeBron, Anthony Davis, and then I've got some Harden, some Luka, some Siakam. Siakam is my dark horse MVP, just like one out of my 150. I have one lineup with him as my MVP. So, in terms of the utility position on FanDuel, Chris Middleton is by far the one who stands out to me. So I like him on both sides. That price tag is nice. He's Giannis's boy. I feel like they're gonna have maybe some alley-oops together. Giannis is gonna find him to get some open threes and get them going. That's what stands out to me. Some like people who I think are very sneaky now that we like just going through this show is probably Donovan Mitchell at 3,400 on DraftKings. That price tag is in between Paul and Lowry. Mitchell is on the Giannis side of things, so he's sneaky in that option. I don't know what his ownership will come in at, but that's someone to like. I feel like if you're finding a reason to move up $200 from Middleton to Mitchell, you might be getting that at half as much ownership. I'm not sure how much Middleton is getting talked up elsewhere, but that's just a way to pivot from.
I can't wait to see ownership. I'm so curious what guys like Middleton and Giannis are on. Again, we have 24 viable picks, and there's 6 players per lineup, so 24 players going into what should be, I think, 600 points of lineup, if I'm getting that right. So an exact ownership average of 25%. I think I'm doing all that math right. So 25 is your average guy. I'm really curious where some of these guys get owned. I think we again have 80 Giannis, 80 LeBron, if not higher. I'm really curious who your 3% dandies are here.
Yeah, and another thing I want to bring up, someone asked about groups in this situation. I would find a way not to play those backup bigs together in a lineup.
Yes, God forbid you are playing Jokic, Sabonis, whomever the backup bigs. Don't play both backup bigs on the same team. I think I wouldn't want to play 2 centers on the same team. I think that's absolutely fine. There's 3 centers on each team. Group them apart.
All right, Luka versus Trey, 1v1 either side.
I'm always team Luka over Trey, but there is merit to say Luka's with a lot more ball dominant players in this situation where he might be a lot more limited than he is usually when he's on Dallas. While Trey
but
is
he can pass. He's top 5 in the league in drives.
Mm-hmm.
Just
while Trey is on a team with in the starter side of things, it wouldn't shock me where he might take the second most shots. Maybe, I don't know. Trey's a little harder to.
Doesn't play defense in a game where there's no defense. Is that going to impact him, Rinpack?
I'm not sure. Maybe he might start pulling up from 40 just for fun. I have no idea.
In honor of Damian Lillard. Yeah. Eddie, if you're going Luka or Trey, do you have a choice in this exhibition?
If they were the same price and ownership, it would be Luka, not terribly close for me. Keeping in mind that he gets to play against Trey. So it's not close for me by means of projection, but I would expect Luka to be higher owned. Again, all else being equal. So I probably wouldn't have a strong play because I think most people would play. It's not hard analysis to look at the situation and go, Trey gets where he gets based on an absolutely ridiculous usage. Just a preposterous usage on a team with no other good players on it, or certainly no other significant offensive fantasy assets on it. That's simply not the case in this game. He's going to split the distribution with Kemba. So Luka, I can just see being a little more involved. Trey obviously has an upside, can pull up from 35 and make any number of shots. He's a starter, which obviously feels good. We've talked about that quite a bit. But all else being even, I would rather go with Doncic, who has the ability to pick up some more peripherals than Trey, who's basically going to be on points and assists. And this isn't a format that benefits him quite as much as getting either of those. And I just think there is a chance he gets pulled for being cooked.
Okay,
It is his first year. If they're going to yank one of the bad defensive point guards on that team, I don't think it's Kemba, who is also not as bad as. I mean, like, it is me being unfair to Kemba to lump him in with Trey this many times. Kemba's not a good defensive point guard, but he tries really hard and is significantly disadvantaged by his size, and that's a thing. Trey is abysmal. Trey is horrific. There is no one on the other team who cannot cook him one-on-one again and again and again and again and again and again and again. So if one of those guys only gets 20 minutes due to being abysmal defensively, it would be Trey before Kemba, who is A, not that bad, and B, a veteran.
All right, Rimpack, we're talking shot attempts here. I'm going to throw out, and this is coming from chat, they'd like to know from both of you who you think will get the most shot attempts. So just give your top 3. But I do want to point out that James Harden, no stranger to this event. This is marking his 8th time in the midseason classic. His last 5 times as a starter, he has taken, these are 3-point attempts, 13, 13, 9, 12, and 12. That's reverse chronological order.
Yeah.
Booyah, that is some fun. An unguarded James Harden from 3? I'm in.
Who's playing guard on the other team?
Trung?
Yeah. Best part about that game last year, if I recall correctly, he didn't attempt a 2-pointer. I think he shot 4 for 13 from 3 and 4 for 13.
He did last year?
I don't think he attempted it. This is last year? This is last year. He's on Team LeBron. I don't think he attempted a 2-pointer in that game.
He did not.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, I'm pretty sure he just jacked up 3s. So.
And the year prior, he did try 6 2-pointers. He was 13 from 3, but made 3 of his 6 from inside the arc.
So I'm going to ask you guys both, what does James Harden like to do on like a Saturday night?
Oh, God, we're going into I hear strippers have been imported to Chicago.
Yeah, Offset of the Migos actually imported 3,000 of them.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they imported strippers.
And
wait,
supposedly
who is this? Barstool?
No, Offset of the Migos.
Wait, Offset of the musician Offset?
Yeah, the rapper
That's
Offset.
correct.
Like
I am. Hold on.
Take off Quavo and Offset.
Sorry. Emac knew who Offset was. Give me a minute. I got to get over this. Give me just. Okay, continue. Sorry, just there was a second. That was the most shocking thing I've seen.
Musician, I use the term lightly, but hey.
Oh, don't go there. Jesus Christ, you just boomered us right in the ass.
He's Mr. Cardi B. So
okay,
he's Cardi B's.
Man, that's true.
So if that was actually, that's one reason why I actually lowered Harden's projection just a little bit. So
that is next level. Laffy would approve.
So, I mean, 3,000 of them. I'm sure Harden probably took 5 or 6 of them. And
my hometown had 2,500
I thought
people.
You were going to say, I'm sure 50 of those were for Harden, but
So if there was a reason to dislike Harden, it'd be the imported strippers by Offset.
For anyone who's watching this show, by the way, this is not entirely specious or crazy. There was a study done, a significant study, which you can find on Reddit if you're not aware of this, which compared James Harden's road game statistics to the ranking of strippers in that city and found them to be strongly correlated. So,
and these are imported. These are just not local. They're like the best of the best.
Oh, this is why we need Adam Ship My Money Share watching, because he has some Toronto stories that would for his live finals for the NBA that will make you understand the lineup decisions he made later.
I'm sorry, Dominique. They know not what they do. Okay.
Oh, all right. 8 minutes left. Any wisdom we would like to impart? Yeah, don't play bigs. Play guys that can shoot.
Yeah. Some guy, if there's like, obviously this has happened in All-Star games in the past. I want to say Damian Lillard had a stretch in the third quarter last year where he just got hot and they just kept feeding him the ball. So like there's guys like that who you guys can want to say that get hot from outside. Devin Booker easily stands to mind. That's one guy if you guys want to sprinkle in. He's priced up at 5'8", but don't mind if you want to get a little different in your lineups like that. That's someone who can definitely
Absolutely.
come out there, hit 10 threes, and
We're
then
supposed to
make
answer who will take the most shots, by the way. We got segued into 3-pointers, no 2-pointers, strippers, and we never got around to that guy's question. So
Giannis 1, Harden 2, LeBron 3 for me.
I'll go.
I got LeBron 1.
Yeah.
I'll go Harden 2, Giannis 3 for me, actually. Like I think I have to project Giannis for more fantasy points, but I think LeBron is more likely to be the MVP, and I think the ceiling is actually a little higher because he can just call his own number a little bit more. And I like his team more. But
And I prefer.
I'll take LeBron 1. Also, if you check, I want to say LeBron has taken the most shot in an All-Star game a number of times.
I'll go LeBron, Giannis, Anthony Davis in that order.
Okay. Like shot volume, it's hard to get over Harden, but
Is Russell Westbrook going overlooked? The guy that scored 41 points in 19 minutes. I forget 2 or 3 seasons.
He had a beast. He had a beast. Like basically, when Chris Paul led off being the beast in the All-Star game, Westbrook started doing it. He was very, very good, like 3 in a row. But for me, it's price in minutes.
That price is tough on FanDuel.
I give him like 18 minutes. Like I had a couple issues with stuff you wrote today, Emac. I read your article. I thought it was brilliant, but there were 2 things. One was you mentioned you were worried that Tatum's role in the duplication with other guys in lineup would keep him in the high teens. I think the high teens is ambitious.
Okay.
I think high teens is good. I think if you get 18 minutes of Jason Tatum, you should be like, nice. I'd take the under on 17 right now. Gun to my head, number of minutes played by Jason Tatum. Again, this is a 45-minute game, not a 48-minute game, and it's his first time and coming off the bench and all the duplication. Like, I think 18 would be a good number. And I think at 4,400, that's absolutely fine. You can still fire that bullet. And then the other thing was, I can't remember. There was something else that struck me funny. Wasn't critical, so don't worry about it. But for some reason, that was on my mind.
So DraftKings moved back lock by 10 minutes, so that's something to keep an eye on. They did that last year as well. So let's take a look at what FanDuel did. I don't remember FanDuel like locked at 17 after the hour last year because there was just.
Was there another event before this?
No, it's just like they have the national anthem player introductions. They take up some time.
Because DK did the same thing. Now
they have overlay is what they have.
Well, I know, but there's a rain delay that ended up happening here for NASCAR, but they pushed it because
they postponed.
The starting from when they say they're locking, which is like has been around forever. Or the listed time till when they actually go is usually 40 minutes, which is insane.
The issue with this is if FanDuel doesn't postpone, they are issuing a massive amount of data which will help you on DraftKings. So if FanDuel rolls at 8 in 3 minutes, absolutely the best thing we can do is go look at ownership on FanDuel and respond. Absolutely the best use of time whatsoever of this entire show probably will be, let's go look at FanDuel. Wow, that's what these guys are owned, and then react to it in the 10 minutes we now have on DraftKings. So let's make that plan A if FanDuel does not roll it forward as well. And that's the reason I dislike this conduct. It's not as bad as when they used to do it like unannounced. This time at least there was a bar, I think, that said like, this contest may get retimed. Okay, I accept that. Like that's at least you're giving some notice. But they did it a few times last year on either this or some other contest or a finals game or something where it got postponed. They're like, yeah, we're doing 8. We're doing 8:10. We're doing 8:15. We're doing 8:20. We're doing 8:30. And then it went at like 8:35. And I was like, I without previous notice, I find that at very best, poor business conduct. Because you have people who I think we can all admit.
Right, real quick, FanDuel $10 comp, $9.99, 400,000 is gonna go off at 42,000 if they do indeed lock in 2 minutes, and that is 5,000 short if you're trying to bargain hunt there.
Yeah, so it's going to rake 4% instead of the 15 they're trying to. Is basically what the math will be on that. It just got into the rake now. It's got just over 40,000 entries, so it's literally 400 in, 400 out right now. So with 2 minutes and change to go, worth spinning up some extra entries there. That is, unless you're run pack and you're hanging down by your knees and you've already got the max in, then you can't. But for the rest of us plebeians,
they call him Big Papa. Rinpack is Hindi for twisting cabbage off instinct?
I was gonna say, as soon as you started it, I almost interrupted you to say Hindi for
Pakistani?
shaped like elephant, but I
Damn it, Rinpak, I'm not sure. There we go. There was a joke there somewhere, and it's with love. Wait, heart emoji. Heart emoji.
Did they lock on FanDuel? That's like something to just like.
We're
We're
1
a minute and
away,
change
and they haven't
out.
changed it.
They changed it?
they
No,
have
they-
not,
they have
to
not.
my knowledge.
Oh. That's going to be very interesting to look at. Some things that maybe, okay, now that DK is still running, maybe we can help people build some more DK lineups. Yeah, I'm looking at lineups right now. I have a couple lineups that I've left over $1,000 in its lineup.
No
just
problem
to-
whatsoever. Rather do it
Yes.
on FanDuel, by the way.
Yeah.
If you look at the
Um,
Rising Stars challenge, there was quite a bit of that. So
Mhm.
fan.
So that's one thing to definitely
Yeah,
consider.
currently taking in 410, a little bit less, 409,000, paying out 400. So that contest is raking 2.25% with some few seconds left. So yeah, get yourself some of that.
Any sneaky low price captain options you like, Eddie?
I mean, Paul and Middleton would be my favorite too. The low price captains, I think, are generally underowned. So I need you guys who are actually in contest to be ready to.
No, I'm looking, and I'm okay. It locked.
Oh,
It locked, and it was 41073 of 4766.
Right. So it took in 410, pays out 400. So 2.5%.
No, I don't have any active in it, so I can't see.
okay. I have some active. I'll pull that up.
All right. So
All right. I'm just going to read them off just for our time.
Yep.
Yeah.
LeBron James MVP ownership 19.8%. Total 50% owned. Giannis MVP ownership 37%. Anthony Davis MVP ownership 12.6.
MVP 30. Whoa, 37% MVP on Giannis total.
Total 67.
Okay, so just to confirm, we had LeBron at half the whatever and 50 to 67 in total. Because again,
Yeah.
for me, I if they're the same price, I think I like LeBron a little bit more, and I don't think
LeBron's
that
500 cheaper. Yeah.
right. So I wanted to stop there. Please continue.
Anthony Davis priced at 14.5. His MVP ownership is 12.6. His total is 35.2%. Chris Middleton, who was the floor, his total percent was 31.3%. Donovan Mitchell was 13.3%. I just read off one of my lineups, so it's probably
Yeah, if you listen to what Rimpak is doing, he's going to read lineups 1 through 5, several in a row here.
Pascal Siakam, 26.6% owned. Chris Paul, 17% owned. Luka Doncic, 28.3% owned. James Harden, 24.9% owned. MVP, 7.9%.
I have to like that. I don't know
I
if I
have to
mentioned
like
Kemba. I need a number
Uh,
on Trey because we had. I expect if we have Doncic at 24 on their prices, he should be like 14 to 16. That's my guess.
Embiid, 14.5% owned, 1% MVP. Siakam, 26.6% owned.
All right, so for those of you that don't know what we're doing, DK's locking in about 7 minutes. FanDuel locked, so we're trying to give you guys a little bit of an edge here.
Sabonis, 12.9%. We're looking for Trae Young, right?
God, what did Sabonis cost where he was that much? Hold on, let me see if I can access.
All right,
Jason
looks like
Tatum,
you got
9.5.
about 7 minutes to get into DK right now.
Devin Booker, 15.8. Did no one play Trae Young? Did people get scared off?
That's what I'm saying. Because like when you were like, who do you like more, Luka or Trey? I like Luka a lot more than Trey. That being said, I cannot like using any logic looking at this game. You should like Luka more. He's got the better matchup, a better minutes floor, slight better propensity to excel. And like I don't know. So that was
Ben Simmons, 13.5%. Where? Okay, Trae Young, finally. He is 31.8% owned.
really
Yeah.
Trey is higher owned than Luka. What were their prices on FanDuel?
Luka's 13.5 and Trey is 13K.
Okay, so for the 500, there basically would be even at the same price. So interesting. Okay, then I'd significantly prefer Luka. I assumed there would be a better disparity there, but don't get me wrong. I get the Trae Young logic too, which is not a lot.
Is there
of
another
defense.
player that you want to hear?
Kemba.
Eddie, you were correct. DK is pushing overlay.
Kawhi Leonard's 9.5%.
Yeah, it's an educated crowd. Yeah, I mean, there's one game to analyze. It's not incredibly hard to do so.
All right, the DK
I will say
$15 has 5 minutes left to lock. There are 4,000 spots. That is a 150 max. It's going to get close, but there's a little bit of room.
Kemba Walker, 25.9% owned.
Okay. So am I right that Giannis was $500 more than LeBron on FanDuel?
Giannis
right?
is 500, yeah.
And he was still owned 15% higher, significantly.
17% owned, yeah.
Right. Okay. To me, that's an inappropriate distribution. If they were the same price, I would have roughly the same interest in the two of them. I, based on our limited sample size, think LeBron touches the ball more. I would project him for a couple extra minutes. I have to project Giannis for more production per minute, but I would have them very similar. So what's the differential by price on DK? They're like 300 apart if they're not captains.
Did you get Kyle
LeBron
Lowry?
Is cheaper. LeBron is cheaper captain option, I'm pretty sure, on DK.
I'm going back and
LeBron's a tiny bit cheap. It's within like $300.
Right.
Plus.
So we have some reason to believe that, again, he's going to be lesser owned than Giannis at a similar. I mean, I would expect the ownership, and we'll tell you in 4 minutes, to roughly mirror what we saw in FanDuel, where Giannis is a little more expensive and was still owned pretty significantly more. I'm a little stronger in the LeBron narrative takeover, and he has a bit more ability to call his own number. Not that Giannis can't take it up the court after a specious defense. And again, Giannis, LeBron gets to play against Trae Young and Kemba Walker for 25 minutes.
Did you get
of the game.
Paul or Lowry? Pack?
Paul or Lowry?
Paul or Lowry on your FanDuel contest?
I mentioned Chris Paul.
Remember when we used to have a whole weekend to do this, or from Thursday until Sunday lock for NFL?
I don't have. Let me find Lowry.
His price on FanDuel wasn't overly delicious. Like he was $9K or something.
Oh, Chris Paul is 17% owned.
At what price on FanDuel?
7,000. Kyle Lowry, 12.5% at 7,500.
All right, so now we're down into the nits where it's really hard to tell based on lineup construction.
And it doesn't matter that much between 10, 15, and 20%. So my big takeaway from that is, I think, and I'd like you each to comment on the same thing. We have 3 minutes. I like LeBron more than I like Giannis at this point if I'm going to get him cheaper and at 80% of the ownership. Again, we had both FanDuel and DraftKings. Giannis is a little more. Giannis is an absolute fantasy monster. Although it's worth pointing out, I think LeBron is 4th per year on DraftKings points per minute or something. Like he's not way down the list. But in this format, Kobe narrative, all that stuff, I like LeBron a little more at this point if I'm going to get him a little cheaper and less owned. It's just my take. I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's more ball movement there. Yay that Giannis wants a bunch of people that are going to let him shoot, but if he doesn't have spacing or if he's going to have to drive in this exaggerated Olay defense, I still got to go LeBron.
Yeah, I prefer LeBron. With that news that we just.
I mean, we're splitting hairs. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But.
And again, I hope that you still get like Sabonis owned 14% and crap like that on DraftKings. Because I really think it's dead money. Like I don't know how you project those guys with even the slightest research to play more than I'll give him 14 minutes. How the hell good do you think they're going to be? Like, I don't know what to tell you. There's 3 centers on each team. They're going to collectively play 45 minutes. If you think the starters play 20 plus, I don't, and you should, I think. I don't know how you get the bench guys really at all. Like, you need an injury. I guess that can happen.
You need a back to get tightened up during halftime or something, yeah.
Sure. And again, no one's played in 4 days and is playing.
Last
days.
one, CP3 or Lowry, based upon our news for DK.
If the money
CP3.
does nothing for you, I would play Lowry. He'll be well lower owned on DraftKings because the prices do not line up with the FanDuel pricing whatsoever. So if the money is doing nothing for you, I would play Lowry because he'll be well less owned.
Rinpack?
If Lowry's going to be lesser owned, I would prefer Lowry at that point, yeah.
Right, they've got 90 seconds to make some actionable information since I typed that into the premium Slack, which, hey, wait for it. That's what you get here on Osmo. If you guys have not yet joined for Osmo, or you're not yet a subscriber for Osmo, what you can do is use the promo code BREAK, as in NBA All-Star Break, BREAK, and you can get 8 days of content for $15. Hey, I bet if you sign up now, that's going to bleed into some of the good stuff. So check it out and get on in there. We wrapped up this weekend with PGA, NASCAR, NHL, which is going to be continuing. If you sign up now, you're going to get NBA on the next week, or starting on Thursday. And then you're also going to get your shot at some other stuff. So check that out. One of our better deals, and enjoy.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out. Alex just dropped his new stacking tool for NHL, which seems to be quite popular. Would you say, Emac?
Well, somehow Adam Ship My Money Share, Adam Ship My Puck Share has become an NHL savant in 72 hours. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. So
I was told there would be no math. Adam was like, yeah, it's all numbers. It's great. He's like, I love the Capitals, but you know what? This is all math. Eddy,
it's we're math. At lock.
Who knew?
We are at lock.
I can't wait for the ownership. Do we want to game the ownership at all? We have some FanDuel information as sort of a precursor. I'm kicking back just in case we game the ownership at all.
Oh, if you guys want to invent something great, if not, no worries. I'm trying to download it. Rinpack is counting his money silently.
Rinpack, you want kick back and take a shot at the title? You want some of this?
All right, let's play against the ownership king.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
All right, finally popped up. So we've got, this is coming from the DK $500,000 $15 contest, $500,000. Guess how much to first?
Okay, I'm sure it's $100K to first. If it's more than $100K, I'm gonna riot and flip my chair. It's 100, right?
It's 100.
Okay. All right, so let's do it this way, Renpeck. We'll start at the top. Alternate. One person guesses the name. Well, actually, guessing the name is good. Let's just have Emac read them out in order.
Now, remember, this is I just have the combined ownership, I believe.
That's good. Trying to do captain is wackety, whatever. Yeah. But guessing the order is too easy on the first few. I'm pretty sure I know at least the top two. So let's just go. Emac will read them out in order. One will alternate. One person picks an ownership number. The other person says higher or lower. Right. First person to 5.
All right.
You ready for $100,000? Let's go. By the way, I might have to borrow $100,000 from you to pay you in a minute.
All right, so we'll let Beauty Before Age go on this one. We're giving Rinpack the nod. Giannis Antetokounmpo, number 1. Would you like? And this is I believe we've learned this is combined ownership, which what comes out in the CSV. So this is captain plus flex.
Okay. Let's do 57%.
Higher. Give me my point.
All right.
No shot. It's not higher than that. No, 0 shot. Let me take a. I'll say 75.
Okay, good. Are you ready? It
Yes.
is 80.8.
Yeah, there's too much good value, man. People are gonna jump all over that guy. Like,
All right,
we got
so
1-0. That's
one to Eddie.
$20,000.
Eddie, you now have the setting the line, combined ownership, flex, and captain coming out of the CSV here on DK. LeBron James, to no surprise, is number 2. But who does number 2 work for at what percentage?
Right. So it's everyone who didn't play Giannis. And then what percentage of the other Giannis lineups or the Giannis lineups also have LeBron? And on FanDuel, we had a 17% differential at about 8% lower base. So I'll say 18% less. I'll say 62.
Oh, that's good. I'll take the under, but very close, very close.
It is 66.5. You're playing against the am I saying it right, Eddie? The eidetic memory?
I don't think that would apply here because I'm not memorizing it. Like if you showed me these numbers a week ago when I was doing,
you're going against Thanos, kid.
Yeah,
you have no option.
My gloves.
Even though he wants to be Doctor Strange, you're going against Thanos.
I look exactly like Doctor Strange. If you look at like not the Benedict Cumberbatch one, but if you look at like the old drawings, Google like 1970s Marvel Doctor Strange. This is what he looks like.
All right, Rinpack for fun. Would you like to guess who is number 3? And then you will choose. I will give you the answer for the percentage. But guess, DK.
Guess who's number 3?
Yeah.
Whoa. At that price, at those prices.
It surprised me. It's not a stretch, but it surprised me to see it in black and white here.
Hints.
Or pixels and pixelating pixels.
Surprised you. So it's not one of the studs then. Like the
No, it is. I just wasn't expecting him this one.
Maybe you could give him some more hints. Okay, now we know it's an unexpected stud. I got it down to 3 guys. Got out of 2 guys, really.
I'm assuming it has to be a starter, so it's no. Is it like Trae Young or Kawhi?
It is Trae Young, and I like trying for 2 guesses there, but it is Trae Young. I will accept your first guess.
This scrap is rigged.
Per Jeopardy rules.
Okay.
Now, do I have to set the line?
Yes. Now you have to set the line. And Eddie can choose.
LeBron was 66.
LeBron ended up being, LeBron was 66.5. Giannis was 80.8. I don't think that's going to help you here.
Helps quite a bit.
I'll say
that's 150.
47% then.
Okay.
What do you say?
47%.
Good
number. Card Sharks. Higher. Lower. Freeze.
80.8 and 66.6. That's 147.4 taken up with 22 spots left.
There's 2 of us on this show, Rinpack, that do not have national board game titles. Championships, if you will.
I got plaques here. You said 40 what?
He said 47.
It's a really good guess. I'll take the under, but that's a good guess.
All right, it is 44.8.
Good guess.
All right, Eddie, who do you believe is the 4th most popular player? This is for the exhibition, in honor of the exhibition tonight.
DraftKings at those prices. I guess it has to be Anthony Davis.
It is, in fact, Anthony Davis. Would you like to set a percentage? Or would you like to forfeit to Rinpack?
Trae was 44 what?
Trae was 44.8.
Okay. So that's
How much cheaper was Trae Young than Anthony Davis? I don't remember. The price.
800? 600? I don't know.
Yeah, hit the like on the way out. The last.
You screwed up my math on the other thing. We're at 192.2%, I think, on those three guys. So then I got to go here. So, all right, Anthony Davis, I will set the line at 40.5.
Sorry, Lucius, just hit us up on support. We'll get whatever it is squared away. You said 40.5?
40.5 on
higher
Anthony.
Or lower Rin pack on Anthony Davis? 40.5.
That's a good guess, I think. Man, I was really shocked to hear Trae Young's ownership at that high.
Yeah, see, you got to remember, Eddie only likes to pull out enough to win.
I'll take.
I got luck. I almost went the other way on Trae. I got lucky to get that one. The other two, I felt good on, but
I'll take the over.
Yes, 41.7.
Nice work. Okay.
Oh wow, 40. Wow, you were within 1%. Oh, jeez.
He's good at this. He's been doing this for 4 years.
I was not within 1%. I said 40.5. You said 41.7.
I'm sorry, 1.2%. We're splitting hairs right back. We're splitting hairs. We're still in the presence of greatness, but would you like to pick Rinpack, who is the most popular player?
233.4%, I think, combined total. Okay, go ahead. I'm trying to get a running total here.
Who do I think will be next? It has to be a starter.
Yes.
We've had 3. We have 2 on each side, and 2 starters from each side.
I don't know if it has to be a starter because in the next 4 picks we're gonna hit. You're gonna.
We are Eddie, but he is learning. He's logicking this out. You got to be impressed with your protege here.
Yeah. No, I have long since this is that scene in the beginning of Star Trek 4 where nature abhors a vacuum and I'm Spock and he's Saavik and I'm attaining him to replace me, only to find out eventually that he's a traitor and I have to kill him. But anyway,
well, we haven't gotten to that point yet, so let's enjoy the good life.
That's next. But anyhow, we're gonna hit, I presume, Chris Middleton sometime soon. I don't know. We're gonna because if we have 147% LeBron and Giannis, there's got to be some value coming at some point.
We've got 2 on each side. It's gonna be. I'll go Luka Doncic.
Good number.
You are correct.
Woo! Very nice.
What percentage would you like to tempt one Fast Eddie Fear with?
I'm going to say he's around that Anthony Davis percent.
He was 41.7, I think he said.
What was it, Luka's price point?
I do not have that information.
Okay.
Readily available. He was below Anthony, but not much, I believe.
I want to say like 88 versus 92, or
I'm gonna say like that similar price range. I'm gonna go, I don't know, 35%.
All right, Eddie.
I was thinking 37, so I'll take the over.
It is over 38.8. Eddie, as we move on into number 6, are we ready to get to the reserves?
I think it has to be Middleton or Harden. I'll say Middleton.
Okay. You are incorrect.
Oh.
What do you think James Harden's ownership is?
Let's see. You said Luka was 38.7.
Yes. God, 38.8 technically. I think I said 37. God, you remember this stuff too well, Eddie.
I'm just keeping a running total because that way I can keep a distribution, and then there's like a standard Gaussian distribution. So I'm just plotting out points without you. 32.8.
I'll take the under. I am not sure.
33.4.
Oh, I can't.
Roar.
All
Feel
right.
my wrath.
We're
Let me
doing-
tell you, there is nothing like having such a completely useless skill. Useless. It would be useful if I could play, but since I can't. By the way, like 8 people sent me a message, why can't I play? My day job is with a company called Global Daily Fantasy Sports, which produces fantasy sports contests around the world. And just like any employee of FanDuel or DraftKings, this renders me ineligible to play in daily fantasy sports contests, which is the only reason I do these shows. Thanks to a good friend of mine, Mr. Eric McPherson, who pulled me out of doing nothing. I might have not even, I don't know what I'd have been doing. He's like, hey, I think you know a little about basketball. Why don't you host some shows? Fast forward 5 years later, this entire bit of a career that I have is thanks to that man. So many thanks to you.
See, what nobody knows is behind the scenes. We did one show randomly. You and I did a show together on Odo Einders, as Chris Baggs likes to call it.
That's funny.
We'll call it RG, Roto Grinders. But I was saying, you got to get this guy on. You got to get this guy on. We're like, yeah. I'm like, I am not. I'll do baseball by myself. Because remember, Live Before Lock, we invented it.
Yeah, that's true. You invented it. You invented it.
So I heard Emac had invented the QQ.
I did.
He has
outrageous. Well. I popularized it.
He has outrageous claims, like he invented the question mark.
No, QQ actually was mine. For a quick question, and then somebody explained to me that used to be the tears emojis before there were emojis, but I did not. I was not part of ASL or ALS or whatever it was on AOL Messenger. But in any event, I said, hey, let's get Eddy on, and there was some trepidation. So I was cool. I learned on a Sunday night that next Monday I was going to be going a half hour against both ESPN and CBS started baseball shows with the website, with their fantasy guys, or on the internet. And we were going toe-to-toe with them for DFS. Guess who's not doing shows anymore, or wasn't shortly thereafter? So shout out to Cameron and Dan Bach and the guys that were like, yeah, you're going to do it. You're going to do it for an hour. Okay, 30 minutes. Well, maybe an hour. Go for it. That was my instruction. But it was fun. And once we got to basketball, I was like, I don't think I can do this. And the internet was still in its nascent stage, etc. And I said, hey, I did this show with this guy, Eddy. Is he going to be someone who's here? I want him on the show with me. Let's figure out what it was. And this is back when I played, 1 to 3 lineups in a boatload of contests. I don't do that anymore. But I said, hey, here we go. Let's have Eddy on, and the rest is history. 3 companies later, here's me and Eddy. And then we found Rinpack, who I met in person in Chicago.
That is correct.
Years ago, I believe.
Yeah, that was 2016 fall, I believe, right? Yeah.
How the hell did we meet, Rinpack? I'm trying to remember.
I think we first met there. Then I think we met extensively when you came to Chicago during the summer, and we met up.
Yeah.
That's when I met you and Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there we are. So I've met Eddy's extended family, chatted with his wife. Randomly, his wife grew up in the town next to the one where I'm living in Virginia now, and I got to meet his lovely daughter a couple times, which was a lot of fun. I've met Rinpack in person, so hey, here we are.
Yeah.
And now we're all at Osmo, so it's a good time. So it's fun to have a chance to meet different people in these various events that happen. They don't all have to be live finals, etc. But if somebody's around, etc. I've randomly gotten beers with half a dozen different people, probably in the last 2 years, and more over the course of my careers that are in the Northern Virginia area. I don't travel nearly as far as I once did, but hey, if you're around, say hi, have fun. It's all about fantasy sports. We enjoy this. It's a bunch of like-minded people, and that is the key to doing this. I actually met Alex Osimo at 2 or 3 different events. No, not live finals, because I don't qualify for those, but I got to hang out with him at a few different ones here and there, and then randomly he started this thing up, and here we are. So good.
Yeah, that's actually how I met Alex. I met Alex, I think I crashed the FanDuel baseball live final. I met him and Tom at a pickup basketball game. And
Tom's a ringer. Tom, for those not watching, Tom's like 6'5", maybe taller.
Yeah. Tom's
He's taller than
Tom's
6'5".
tall.
He is like a good foot taller than I am. So.
'Cause I'm 6'4" and some change. I'm probably 6'4.5", and he's got I think he's 6'6", 6'7". I mean, he's got a couple.
Tom's a tower for sure. He's tall. And I met him there, and they were giving away a free there's like a 3-point contest, and they were gonna give away I think like a $555 ticket. Whoever hits the most threes.
Really? God, I hope they do that. Jesus, will that happen this year?
I have no idea. And guess who won that contest? Alex.
Really? He can shoot? That's hilarious, by the way.
He got hot.
That's hilarious that Alex gets the free ticket.
And I remember that distinct story about him. This is my claim to fame. I met Alex before he was the number 1 player.
Ooh.
And then
I did not know such a time existed.
Yeah, and then I was like, all right, this guy's moving up quite a bit, and then he's just taken over since then. It's been no looking back for him. And
yeah, he's incredible. Speaking of which, Rinpack and I will be together in Los Angeles, March 12th to 15th. Am I getting that right?
It starts Thursday into like that Sunday. Yeah.
Okay, but we need to find a way to get in a concerted karaoke trip, which I want other people in the area. And some basketball shooty. Now, if FanDuel sets up basketball shooty, then I'm happy.
They have some basketball festival in front of them. I'm
because
assuming there will be some basketballs and shooting involved.
I have played ball exactly once in the last 2 years because I'm old and my body is falling apart. But I am going to jack myself up on some Toradol and some HGH and get out there and wreck some fools because I need to. So there will be recordings and I will be messing people up. And it'll be great. But karaoke, it's got to happen. Let's go DFS karaoke.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of the Cali team out west. So
yes,
it's an awesome Cali team. So
okay.
All right, gamers. With that, we are going to get on out of here as we're wrapping up with about 200 stalwarts. Check us out. We've got all sorts of content out there, and you could still, of course, use the promo code BREAK, BREAK. That will get you 8 days of access to 7 major sports. 6 major sports. Check out the promo code and the picture because not all of them are included. But you know what? NBA is, NHL, but let's just say save time. XFL is not. We set that one aside separately. From time to time, we are going to do that. We're going to do that with Summer League. We're going to do that with preseason NBA and a few other things just to make it worth everyone's while for the resources that we do have to put behind it. But it's going to be worth your while. That I do promise. But come on in, find out what's going on. Check out the Slack chat where you can get 100% 24/7, 365 access to Rinpack, to Fast City Fair, and most importantly, Adam Scherer, because he loves to answer your questions at all hours of the night. With that, gamers,